other side, eh?
Ah, go and get up. They knocked me up this morning.
What did you do?
Everybody up. It's you, son. Now that was in the army down here. You want to get up to something you shouldn't have been. No, I was not either. I was in a decent sleep.
Now, tell the truth, Marie. You looking out the bathroom window?
I was not looking out the bathroom window neither.
Yes, you were. You frightened you missing something.
Oh, you didn't. You didn't.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Witton Park, 1977. The villagers revived their carnival last year after 18 years. The life of the village has been under threat since 1951, when the Durham County Council imposed a county development plan which attempted to move the residents of 121 villages to urban centres to bring them closer to employment. 27 years later, Witton Parkers are still fighting to rebuild their village and hold the carnival to show that they're still a community and they still want to live in Witton Park.
Right, miss. I'm coming. Right, me ladder, miss. Go on.
I'm coming. Oh.
And there's some wrapping up.
Let's look back in Helen.
You, oi, 2 hands. Because they're not safe, eh?
Let go, Paul, see if it stands up on its own. Oh, that's all right.
Oh,
What on this chair? Get your hand down, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've had to park down at Michael's and that's who I'm looking for. We can't get in the house.
I haven't seen them.
Wait, is this all lad?
Yeah, fair.
Well, they're all up here, so...
Probably yes, he's down waiting to park the car because there's police notices, no parking. Will be.
You're in your round.
I'm married.
Susan! Susan!
Not there. Thank you. I can get out myself. Oh, you're pulling away, Rosie.
Have you got a put?
Ronnie, put some fern over here, pet, until we get it all worked in, honey. Mouse me for stable drop out.
Ronnie, if I leave the car, will it be all right then, I think, yeah?
Where'd you get that from?
Have you seen it now? Ronnie, what time is it?
About 11. I think we'll go and get some dinner now. Is that it?
Right, let's see. The crown on. Now then. Yeah.
Another one under there, back over the floor. Take this one and go along the front and I'll go at the ladders again.
Yeah, that's made you pale. Let's have a look. Yeah.
Well, you know where it was right.
I don't know. Oh, I bet they're down to the beach. Let the down to train. Yeah, and that's walk back up.
Just give us 1 minute till the flowers come.
Keep your eyes front.
Keep telling that to the marshals, make them spread out. That's how it works. You want the Queen? Okay? Everything's set. You want the tableaus spread out on there.
50 yards a piece,
50
right?
yards a piece. And the kids spread out as well.
We had a hardware shop and a draper's shop, but the draper's shop, my father and mother started it about 80 years ago, and they had to work hard. We had a thriving business. It was the community spirit in the village, which they didn't go out to buy much in those days. They mostly all came to the shops that was in the village to buy. And well, it got so busy that sometimes there was 5 of us serving in the draper's shop at one time, and we were really, really busy. A lot of the girls were working in the factories at Aycliffe and these places round about. And on a Friday night, if we wanted a cup of tea, we had to have it before 5 o'clock, before the 5 o'clock train was due in, because then that was when they all came, these that worked in the factories, came down the station yard, and it was black with people coming. And a lot of the girls, they made straight over to the shop, and we knew what they would want, a pair of stockings and a bottle of hair lacquer. And that was a continual stream. Some of them used to open the pay packets out in the shop for to paint. It was the same price, they got the same price stockings and the bottle of hair lacquer. And that went on, you see, but when they closed the railways, well, we lost that trade. I find it very hard going back to the shop because it was our family home, and to see it now, it just upsets me.
Once they got to know about the classification, they weren't very happy, that's to say the least. I'm not going to start and swear again. But by God, you know, they certainly got their fingers out. They had public meetings. They sent a delegation away down to London to try and get over this thing, but it had already gone. It was all cut and dried. I think the powers that be wanted these new estates to be erected so that people would be nearer the work. I suppose it was a good idea in their minds, you know. But they really fought. And I think that...
Actually, I think that Witton Park people didn't realise what was happening at the time. I think they were a bit ignorant about it, and I don't think they were told about it. And that's why they started to fight at the last minute. It was too late.
When we got to know that, that the village was Category D and that there would be no more building, that people had to be moved, well, the people then were up in arms about it because they didn't want to leave Witton Park. And that was when this fighting spirit began. And they had whist drives, jumble sales, all sorts to raise money. And they got a man up from London to fight. And it had got too far. It had got signed away, as you might say, before it could be put back. Or, I don't know what to say there. Before, really, they could advance any at all. And, but as I say, that was the fighting spirit of Witton Park. They would go to any length to do, if they could have saved it. But they just had to, well, they haven't given in. Because even now, the people would just like houses built here.
Well, when you had to move from Witton Park, they always give you 2 to 3 months' notice. And nobody wanted to move, but you had to, you know, because they were pulling Witton Park down. Anyway, when my parents first got notice that they were going to have to move, we were living in 7 Albion Street at the time, and my parents moved from number 7 Albion Street to 53. We were up there for about maybe a year, and then we had to come. We were going to have to move again, so we decided to move from number 53 to number 21 just to prolong going up the new estate. Anyway, we were in number 21 for about a year, and then we got the eviction again to move. So we decided to move that time because we knew we were going to have to move in the future, so we just decided to go over, but we didn't want to go over. And then when we got there, we didn't like it one little bit, not one little bit at all. We liked the Witton Park because it was a good community. Everybody was just one big happy family. If anybody was at the police, the next door neighbours knew and they were in and out the house, you know, saying if everything was all right. But when you went over the new estate, there was nothing like that over there. For the first year, hardly anybody bothered with us at all. Right.
And I didn't like it there either. We lived with Barry's mum and dad for about 3 months when we were first married, and I didn't like it at all. It was all houses, you were hemmed in all round. I didn't like it there at all.
And then we got the chance to move back here, didn't we?
Mm.
So we decided to buy the house and we came back.
Where you got the soap from? Hang a minute. White soap. Pull it. For the soap.
One day I was on the bus stand and this little boy was there, and I said, "Now then, how do you like living on the new estate?" He said, "Oh, it's a nice house, Mrs. Stelling, but," he says, "I'd rather live in Witton Park." And I says, "Why?" I says, "You'll have got a far nicer house than you had in John Street." "Ah, but," he says, "there's not the river there." And he says, "That's what I used to like, to go down the river." And that did mean a lot to the village children, and still does for the people that's left. I will say this, the people really wanted new houses, the best part of them. But there was some houses in the village that really were like little palaces, and these people didn't want to leave Witton Park. And it was heartbreaking to see them go when they really didn't want to go. But I will say this, that they really wanted new houses, and that was all people wanted, was a decent house to live in. And I think if they'd pulled one street down at a time and put a row of houses and kept moving the people in like that, we would have still had Witton Park, and that community spirit would have kept it.
I thought it was tomorrow.
No, today. They started about 1:30. The hospital.
Oh, what about the new stairs?
Oh, no, I don't know. That's been on, hasn't it?
No, tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to that one and finding out for today.
That's it,
I'll see you
then.
tomorrow.
Okay, Anne.
Back to work on Monday. Oh, don't mention it.
What a lovely selection we have as well. Here's one of my all-time favorites, I guess, from the album. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
See yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies.
Cloudy in most areas, it's coming down to 100 yards. East Midlands, East Anglia and Southern England, a cloudy day.
125, number 26, Portola, 12 to 1. 1, Covernote, 9 to 4 favourite. 4, North End, 4 to 1. 155, number 5, Slytherum, 5 to 2 joint favourite of 2. 10, Swing to and Fro, 5 to 1. 9, Sovereign Times, 14 to 1. 225, number 2, Heracles, 5 to 1. 12, Jimry.
I've got a quarterman's name. His name was George Gaskell. He lived in Park Terrace. And in actual fact, he was one of the last ones to move. And he was offered houses and taken to see houses, but bungalows actually. And every time I said, no, I'm not going to move. That's it. So I stuck it out. Then one winter, a few years ago, there was one hell of a wind. And these houses were really rotten, you know. This was just with the demolition that had been taking place, which made his own house really dangerous. Well, there's no two ways about that. And the wind was lifting the roof. And I talked to the chap the next day, and I went up to see if he was okay, actually. He said, aye, Alan, he says, I went to bed last night. He says, the roof was lifting, banging. Why, he says, I was born here. I might as well die here. So eventually, after he'd been looked at 5 bungalows, through me, you know, our officers taking them down, then he said, aye, all right, fair enough. I've caused you lads enough trouble. I know what you're trying to do is good. He says, I'll move. So he did. And shortly after that, a few months after that, I made a speech in the council chamber where this fellow had moved, telling you exactly what I've said now. I said, now Mr. Gaskell's come home. Fact. In a coffin.
greatest days that Witton Park had was the Carnival Day, because we saw something that I thought was impossible. People were going up, crying on each other's shoulders. This is serious, this is the honest truth. Shaking hands, talking to, and they're the most happy-go-lucky people. That day was fantastic. I said, Alan and I argued about it. I said, oh, you won't get them back, Alan, we won't get them back. By gum, they came back.
The funny story
In the hundreds.
Where's Bobby?
When you're ready, let them go! Come on! Come on! Nicholas! Come on! Hurry up! Kevin John!
That's the reason. They've been to the new estate. It's Witton Park Community Centre, and there was a petition, and people put their names down and said that if they had the chance, they'll come back. Almost over 1,000 names there.
I do think Witton Park is a good example of the sort of issue that stirs people up, and because of that, there are people in the community who can talk about planning issues a lot clearer and a lot more intelligently because of their involvement in it. And the action committee that we have in Witton Park that I work with has probably done more self-help work preparing its own ideas for the future of the village and projects than if nothing had actually been a threat. If it had all just been nice and rosy and life had gone on, those people wouldn't have been stirred to participate. And I think this is where participation is at its best. In a county structure plan or in a regional structure plan, it's at its worst because people can't relate with the broader issues. When it gets down to a local community, there's nobody better to tell you what's wanted in that community than the people who live there.
But the Witton Park, you know, it's a different bloody thing here, you know, the people want to live there. And the fact that I'm saying is that the exiles have proved that they're not satisfied where they're being sent to. They don't like these reservations. I'll call it reservations, you know. Parts of the estate are good, parts of it are bad. But I think they prefer village life to sort of town life. And this is what it's all about. They should have the right of choice. People should live where they want to live. Where their grandfathers were born, their grandmothers, and so on, throughout history. They want to live in their own environment. They don't like to be pushed around, and they shouldn't be.
Donkeys we are, you remember? you behind. That's what's right with you. Come on, girls. Here up. This other end. Come on, you. What are you, man? Turn around and push them out. They don't have to mock, do they? They all look at us. Look, I'm pulling that bit. You pull it back again. You don't have to.